Hello and welcome back to another episode of White Album 2. We are currently playing through the closing chapter, and we're in the middle of a very dramatic moment. So, Setsuna and Haruki at the hotel. Let's just see what happens. But all it took was a single sentence for her to silence me.
そうだよね。春樹くんはカズさんのこといつも悪く言ってた。照れくさそうに、自慢げに、まるで自分のことみたいに。最初は悪口ばかりだけど、そのうち一生懸命かばい始めて。でも最後は余計なお説教で照れ隠し。この文章はさ、あの頃の春樹くんの言葉そのままだよ。
Oh, Setsuna. Even though words of rebuttal are coming to mind, my mouth refuses to say them.
こんな思いを込めたラブレター見せつけられて、私どうやって納得すればいいの？
That wasn't what I had meant to do at all. I just wanted them to use my article. To exaggerate it a little bit, and if it came out poorly, just make something up. All I wanted was to make myself look good with it. It had nothing to do with my feelings for Kazusa. I just wrote down a bunch of stuff that was well suited for a story.
嘘つき。春樹くんの嘘つき。嘘つき。嘘つき。
But how? You didn't have to go so far as to call out the lie I'd fabricated for myself, did you?
Sa っき、私がお風呂から上がった時、春樹くん、いたずらを見つかった子供みたいな顔してた。
That must have been because I was hurriedly trying to hide it under the bed.
すぐには理由がわからなかったけど、でも春樹くんが出てくるまでに分かっちゃった。
The article that she's read countless times, through laughter and tears, the article that I wrote myself, that somehow still manages to make my heart waver.
春樹くん、さっきカズサと話してたんだよね。
そんなことできるわけ。
There is a way.
カズサに背中を押してもらったんだよね。
あいつはいない。
But in truth, she is.
カズサのこと諦める勇気をカズサにもらったんだよね。
My message took the form of a feature article dedicated to her, and I've been talking to her with it ever since.
私を抱くためにカズサに励ましてもらったんだよね。
Even now, her picture on the cover of Ensemble looks like she's making fun of me, but at the same time, unemotionally encouraging me.
ずるいよね、春樹くん。
That's why I can no longer refute Setsuna's words.
あなたは何年経っても私に嘘をつき続けるんだね。
Because she has found out that everything has been a lie.
忘れられるはずのない思い出を忘れてしまったかのように嘘で塗り固めて、ずっと自分を殺して生きていくつもりだったんだね。
And that's why you need to go through these memories with therapy. Because the lie that doing this was for the sake of both of us ended up actually hurting one of us.
ただ私だけのために。
Yet again, it's all my fault. It's the night of Christmas Eve, and the date is about to change. The snow that was piling up on the streets a while ago is now still simply continuing to pile up. I can peek at the stars through the slits between the clouds, but in a place as lit up as this, only a few are actually visible. The lights in the nearby station are still lit, signaling the fact that I still have a means to get home. As if warmly welcoming me after I've been miserably forced out of this place full of lovers. As I slowly make my way toward the station, I can hear the sound of the snow that's just beginning to freeze over, being crushed beneath me. But aside from that, I can't hear anything else, creating an illusion of me being the only person left in the world, which I couldn't be more thankful for. After all, the snow that's piled up is willing to drown out any other sound for me. Tell me, Snow, since you're already going so far, would you be willing to listen to one last selfish wish of mine? Could you drown out the wailing that's been resounding in my heart, too? It's been getting on my nerves with how loud it's been for a while now. Oh, Setsuna.
どうしてこうなるんだろう。好きな人が自分に嘘をついてまで私に振り向いてくれて、自分の思いを殺してまで私に報いてくれて、3年越しの思いがやっと叶うって、それで十分だと思ってたのに、私の思いだけ遂げられればよかったはずなのに。
I'm proud of her not going through with it, though. It wouldn't have been right.
なのに、どうしてこうなっちゃうんだろう。
Oh, Setsuna. My God. I feel so bad for both of them, but especially thinking he was finally getting over it and was finally going to dedicate himself to her. Why was he reading that stupid magazine? God.
"3番線、次の電車は0時55分到着予定です。本日の最終電車となります。お乗り遅れのないようお願いします。"
Even if a part of him still loved Kazusa, like, oh, my first love, like, I'm never gonna stop loving them fully, the fact that Haruki is still acting on it to this day, to the point where he was acting on it in the hotel room with Setsuna, that's where I can't accept it. That's where Setsuna couldn't accept it. She knew that he still loved her in his own way, but the fact that he's acting on it is just, Thanks to the snow messing up the schedule, I made it in time for the last train of the day. But because of the snow messing up the schedule, transfers are going slowly, so I'm forced to wait at this station for 15 minutes. I rest myself on the seat that I somehow managed to obtain and stare at the floor, but I can't even last a single minute before standing back up again. Because if neither the scenery around me nor my body itself are moving, all kinds of unnecessary thoughts will start popping up in my head. In an attempt to distract myself, I flip open my cell phone with no real purpose in mind and start randomly pushing buttons, while doing everything I can to avoid the messages button. It's not just Setsuna. I'm sure Takuya and Io must have noticed as well. That no matter how much time passes, I can't let go of my feelings for Kazusa. They've become something that's simply impossible for me to forget. Which is fine. It's okay. I don't care what anybody says. It's okay to love somebody still. But the fact that you're still, not come to terms with it, and you're still acting on it, that's something you need to talk through with a professional to get over it if you cannot do it yourself. And the reason that Takeya and Io, as well as other unrelated people, are still encouraging me and urging Setsuna in spite of all that is because they failed to notice one other thing. They failed to notice that I've been constantly hurting Setsuna, even now, over the fact that I've never forgotten about Kazusa. Because she knows Kazusa just as well as I do. Because she loves Kazusa just as much as I do. It's because of those things that there's no way she would have missed Kazusa's presence inside me. Whenever she tries to dig her way into my heart, she always finds herself face to face with the memories of Kazusa that reside there. All the times I tried to force those memories out and put on a smile must have only seemed like pictures drawn over glass to her. So, does that mean that I can no longer walk beside her ever again? Is that what this means? That I can't walk beside this one person, and this one person alone in the world, Ogiso Setsuna? If said person wasn't Setsuna, I would surely be able to forget about Kazusa one day. How, you ask? The answer's easy. I just need to bury my thoughts about Kazusa deep inside, without forgetting them, and just find a new love instead. Because if that were to happen, then the person by my side wouldn't notice how forced my smile actually is. Even if I start remembering the past and end up being hurt because of it, she would be oblivious to the reason and simply smile and cheer me up. So in time, she would slowly fill my heart, the pain from recalling Kazusa would dull, and eventually she would take the number one place in my heart instead. Ignorance is bliss isn't a phrase I particularly like, but by following this phrase, time would solve everything. If it was someone other than Setsuna.
まもなく3番線に電車が到着します。黄色い線の内側までお下がりください。
Because if it was Setsuna, there's no way we could make it through the transition. If I reminisce about the past, if I end up hurting because of it, it'll just bounce between us, back and forth, hurting us more and more. And just like today, we'd come to a standstill, both of us having lost the courage to move forward. Surely, Kazusa must have forgotten all about someone like me. She might have even forgotten Setsuna as well. And yet, we're still so hung up about the three of us sending our foolish selves down this path of self-destruction. There are things that can't be resolved even if you love the person. I hate those words from the bottom of my heart. But perhaps not being together anymore would be for the... As if trying to match the train's rumbling noise in a chaotic harmony, I erupt in a voice resembling a scream. I don't want to think about coming to any kind of conclusion about all this, so I should have just stopped thinking about it altogether, but Setsuna's smile, Setsuna's sighs, and Setsuna's face drenched in tears. These images keep popping up in my head, one after another, forcing my emotions to helplessly wander in all sorts of directions. I want to feel warmth. I want to meet someone. I want to connect with someone. I can't be thinking about these things. Can you imagine being the rebound after such a horrible experience? Haruki is a mental wreck right now. Yeah, right. There's no way I'd be able to find anyone this late on Christmas Eve. Furthermore, the very act of seeking out someone is simply unforgivable, considering how Setsuna must be going through what I'm going through right now as well. In the end, after missing the last train at Onjuku, I took a taxi and went straight back to my apartment. Without even turning on the lights, I collapsed onto my bed. My body, having been chilled by the touch of the snow, is slowly returning to its normal temperature. But even though my body is regaining its warmth, a single part of me, the deepest part of my chest, is still ice cold. There still seems to be some creaking somewhere in there. Even so, it's still screaming out that I don't want to be alone. And this is totally understandable. Arguably, Haruki just went through a traumatic experience, because it was bringing up past trauma and reliving some past trauma. But I don't think the right way to go about that is just to jump in with another girl. I think what I would do if I was Haruki, I wouldn't have been dumb in the first place, but I would call Takeya and just hang out man to man and just in his apartment. Don't even go out drinking, because you know Haruki wants to cry. And just drink and talk to your friend. And I don't know. That's what I would do.
心と体の両方が痛くてたまらなくて、自分を抱きしめたまま眠れない夜を過ごしたよ。
そうか。
So this is how it feels. This sucks. I guess this means I won't be able to fall asleep. As if I've caught a terrible cold, every nerve in my body is pulsing with pain. And neither warming it up nor rubbing the pain away seems to ease my shivering body. Gritting my teeth so hard that I can hear them grinding, I grasp my trembling body with both hands, but find myself unable to close my eyes. Because if I submerge myself in true darkness, it will come back to me again. The sight of Setsuna's face drenched in tears that I saw at the very last moment will always come back to haunt me. For more than 2 weeks from now on, I won't have to go to university, nor am I scheduled for any work at my part-time jobs. Thus, the free time that I loathe more than anything right now just so happens to strike me when I need to be rid of it the most. I wonder how I'm supposed to spend my time from tomorrow onward. Should I feel this loneliness, or should I just accept it head on? That's so hard, because you know that Koharu's plan probably involved those days off thinking, oh, well, he's going to spend it with Setsuna, they're going to be in the puppy love phase. And now it's not. I should stay by myself. Poor Haruki. I am not alone. I'm sure Setsuna's going through a sleepless night right now as well. It's my fault, and it's Setsuna's fault. The two of us are being devoured by a vicious feeling of loneliness. To be fair, I do not think it's Setsuna's fault at all at this point. I mean, she was hurt. I've been over it 1,000 times. It just drives me crazy. We really are a good match, aren't we?
おやすみ。刹那。
My voice is trembling because of the pain. It's definitely not because I'm holding back my tears. Neither of those facts really change how miserable I am at the moment, but it doesn't mean a guy like me should be crying so easily. Oh, cut the toxic masculinity. Let yourself cry. It might be an old-fashioned way of looking at it, and I might even be laughed at because of it in this day and age. But there still exist people willing to acknowledge that side of Kitahara Haruki. Once again, I wish you good night, Setsuna. It'd be nice if we could both end up getting some sleep. It'd be nice if we could end up having pleasant dreams. At the very least, in our dreams, it'd be nice if we could just stay in each other's embrace until dawn comes. Christmas Day was nothing more than an ordinary winter day after Christmas Eve had passed. The snow had stopped piling up by the time dawn arrived and only served to deliver the chill of winter and hinder the steps of passerbys. By noon, it completely dissolved into blackened slush that merged into the ground. I can't deny the possibility that my own mental state is responsible for my currently cynical outlook. And today's just another ordinary winter day. It's not even Christmas anymore. Ooh, time skip. It's been over a day since I've returned home. I'd spent a whole night engraving the period of the dark sky gradually brightening outside the window in my mind. I then came to the clear realization that nights are not eternal. Watching a day of the sky covered with clouds darkening in real time also made me remember that daylight doesn't last forever either. And I've spent the same, especially long winter night under the hellish torture of being wide awake in my room without the lights on. I remained like that until the bright morning sun finally appeared a second time to burn daylight into my eyes. Dang, that's rough. Just laying in bed all day, unable to do anything. I've yet to manage to get even a wink of sleep, despite such a long passage of time. I had hoped fatigue and sleepiness would cloud my mind. However, they failed to expel the memories of a certain someone out of it, only serving to give me a splitting pain. If I keep spending my time alone in my room like this, my mind probably won't be able to take it. In the end, however, I have neither a place to take refuge in, nor a person to provide me the escape I need. That's kind of rude to all your friends. I remain trapped in the darkness, seeing no trace of an exit.
ただいま留守にしております。ご用の方は発信音の後にメッセージをお願いします。
本当に出かけてんのかよ。おいハルキ、この前の件だけどな。帰ってきたらちゃんと話しようぜ。これ聞いたらすぐに連絡してくれ。携帯とこっち両方に入れとくから。シカトすんじゃねえぞ。じゃあな。
The call on my cell phone just a while ago was from Takeya as well. This makes it the 9th time in 2 days that I've been running away, pretending to be unavailable. Hold the phone. 30 seconds ago, Haruki just said he has no one to turn to. And Takeya's called him 9 times in 2 days. I'm just saying. At first, when I didn't answer the phone, he sounded as if he was teasing me. His teasing hinted at his natural and kind hopes, as well as his initial impression that I was perhaps still with Setsuna. However, since yesterday night, after a call from Io, I realized that things had taken a turn for the worse. Although her tone sounded strangely desperate, what she spoke about was not far from what I'd predicted she would. She'd met with Setsuna. She said that Setsuna had told her nothing happened, that Setsuna only kept smiling and didn't cry. Oh, poor Setsuna. And that she knew that all of it was a lie. She'd definitely noticed such trivial changes. She's been friends with her for so long. Honestly though, Setsuna shouldn't be lying to her friend like that. Like, she doesn't get off the hook entirely. Something terrible happened. She should just talk to Takeya and Io about it and be like, look, this is what happened. It was so sad, I need support. By lying to everyone like Haruki is, it closes them off to having people help them recover. Her forced cheerfulness, clear feeling of emptiness, her inability to hide the pain. Various negative feelings are slowly eating away at Setsuna right now. After that, Io and Takeya kept calling me several times per hour until morning came. They're doing so not just because they've instigated all this. I can feel their uneasiness from their genuine, worried tones through their calls. And yet, I've only continued to ignore them, as if their panicked state right now was their own problem. because I don't know how I should answer them. It's because we're so close that I don't know what to say to them. Because I know how they'll react. Because I know their reaction will definitely hurt me, though it's also because it would put me at ease to some extent. They'll likely punish me. They'll furiously lament and reprimand me and desperately interfere in hopes of finding a solution somehow, won't they? And I would likely accept their punishment and stop my own thoughts in response to their intervention. It'd only be complacency derived from such stagnation, though. There's nothing worse than pretending an issue is already solved when it isn't. Even if I can take on the pain directly, it would be pointless if I can't move on. After all, even if I do get my moment of comfort, it would not solve anything for Setsuna. It wouldn't save her. Whew, that phone rings a long time, doesn't it? A result such as this, my own salvation alone, would accomplish nothing. That's why I ultimately can't do anything in the end. All I can do now is observe the sky above in real time, as it's wrapped by the gentle sunlight and dyed a warm red before turning black. And entertain myself with the question of whether or not I will be able to move forward, even if just a little, when the next dawn arrives. A question I keep asking myself over and over again. Ooh, that dang phone. Unable to determine how far the source of the sound is from me, I blindly stretch out my hand in the faint darkness. As my fingertips finally touch a solid item that's vibrating rhythmically, they tell me that this is what I've been looking for.
はい。
あ、北原か？私、風岡。
I realize that I've just casually answered the phone. Wow, the one time Mari-san calls him, and not Takeya. It's been days since I've last had a conversation with someone.
あれ、起きてる？昼過ぎだから大丈夫だと思ったんだけど。
My mind can't keep up with the first conversation I've had in quite a long while. Moreover, the fact that I just woke up also means my reactions are still dull. And having realized that I'd just woken up, I reply with odd, redundant responses.
すまない。どうやら本当に寝てたみたいだな。
いえ、そんな問題ないです。ちょっとうたた寝しちゃってただけで。
I was actually asleep. Finally asleep. Oh, it's such a bummer when you can finally sleep and someone calls and wakes you up.
ということは今は家？大丈夫？ちょっとだけでも話せる？
今何日の何時ですか？
北原、お前一体何日間寝てたんだよ。28日の13時半だ。
Wow. Having to ask someone the date, that's like Chiaki.
そうですか。
As I open the curtains, having been untouched for more than 24 hours, the radiance of the gentle winter sunlight dazzles my eyes somehow. If my memory serves me right, the clock pointed at 12 the last time I checked it, meaning that I've been sleeping for about an hour.
なんか大丈夫じゃなさそうだな。明日にでもかけ直そうか。
あ、いや、大丈夫ですから。何でした？
The truth is, my mind and my body haven't rested at all. My head is still as hazy as ever, and I still feel quite muzzy, actually. Muzzy? Is that a real word? Such a half-hearted excuse of an attempt to sleep actually ended up enervating me even more. Nevertheless, the fact that I've successfully fallen asleep holds great meaning in itself. It gave me a chance to talk to someone, above all things. I have my unconsciousness to thank for facilitating contact with another person after I've denied it for so long. Alright, so before we really get into our chat with Mari-san, we'll end for today. Thank you so much for being here for this chapter of White Album 2, and I'll be back at you with the next chapter soon. Until then, I hope you take care. See you!